everybody, it's Miss Ria for another Be Creative, and we're starting off our summer reading, and hopefully you've all signed up to be with us this summer and reading lots of fun books and doing fun activities. So this is my first Be Creative for the summer, and we are going to make a liquid rainbow. Look at that, isn't that fun? So this is a really fun project to do if you're in the kitchen and you want to try something different, and if you have some just things that you would normally have in your kitchen, and if you did have to buy something, it's not too hard to get. We can get all these things at the grocery store. So we're going to be making a liquid rainbow, and the things that you need, I have all the directions, so after you watch this, you can print this out, get what you need, and then you can come back and watch the video with me and watch me do it, and then you can do it along with the video. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to need, and all of the measurements are the same. So you're going to be using a half a cup, and I have these great little individual measuring cups, and it says half a cup. So I use this. So you're going to use half a cup of corn syrup. So this is the corn syrup. You're going to use half a cup of that. Next, you need dish soap. So there is colored dish soap. Dawn dish soap comes in blue. So that's what I use, Dawn dish soap. So this is what I use. But if you don't have colored dish soap, you can always add a little drop of blue food coloring to make your dish soap look blue, because we want blue in our rainbow. So we've got the dish soap, and then a cup of water. So just go to the tap and get a half a cup of water. And then you're going to need some olive oil, and a lot of people do cook with olive oil. I use a lot of olive oil. So you're going to need a half a cup of olive oil. And the last thing that you're going to need is rubbing alcohol. You might not have that, but some people keep rubbing alcohol. It's good to clean, and you might use it if you have a cut or a scrape or something. You might use some rubbing alcohol to clean the wound. So you're going to need some rubbing alcohol. So all those ingredients are half a cup. And so what I've done already is I've already poured a half a cup in all of my containers. Now on the instruction sheet it says you need to have a rainbow jar. This was my rainbow jar when I did it to try it out. So now I have another rainbow jar. This is going to be my rainbow jar. This is a Mason jar that I use for canning, because I can a lot of things like pears and applesauce and all that kind of stuff. And I have the great plastic lids after I open it up. So you're going to need a jar, or you could use maybe a water bottle or whatever you have. It just needs to be clear so you can actually see the rainbow. So this is going to be my rainbow jar. So, and on the instructions it says you need 3 containers, and I just have these little clear plastic clear containers that I put my half a cup in. So, but you don't have to have clear ones because you're at home and you know what you have. So in my clear containers, the 3 containers on the list are, the first one is going to hold my corn syrup, and my second container is going to hold water, and my third container will hold rubbing alcohol. Okay, so on the instructions it tells us that the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to have our corn syrup, but we want our corn syrup to look like it's purple. So this is where your food coloring comes in. So it tells us that we have to put 1 drop of blue. So I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to put 1 drop of blue and 1 drop of red. So 1 drop of red. And then I'm going to mix that. And I didn't bring anything to mix it, so I'm just going to use the end of my cup. So here I am. I'm going to mix this up the corn syrup, and it's turning a color of purple because red and blue mixing together turns it into purple. So I'm gonna get this all mixed up. Look at that. So let me get a paper towel so I can wipe the end of my stir. So when you don't have something, you just improvise, right? There it is. Okay, so I've got my purple. I'm just gonna wipe that off because I might need a stir again. And then, I'll throw that away. And then I'm going to pour, it tells me that I need to pour this into my rainbow jar. So I'm going to pour this into my rainbow jar. So here I go, pouring it in. And I can just pour that straight down the middle. Do you see that? It is definitely purple. There it is. So I've got my purple corn syrup. So here we go. I'm gonna get that off. That was container 1. Now it tells us that we need to slowly pour in our dish soap. So I'm going to slowly do that. And I know sometimes it's really hard to pour things in really slow, but you're gonna see what's going to happen, that the dish soap, because it is lighter than the corn syrup, is going to stay right on top. So I'm going to slowly pour that. Do you see that? And isn't that a pretty color of blue? I like that color of blue. And once we get that all in there, you are gonna see how the dish soap just sits right on top of that purple. Isn't that awesome? This is density. We're just learning about density. There's different particles in each of the things that I'm pouring. And so this is why they are all going to be layered. So there was our dish soap. That was our second pour. Okay, so now it says we need water. We need water, and we need to put 2 drops of green food coloring. All right, so I've got my green food coloring. I'm just looking at this and how pretty that is. Here we go with the 2 drops of green food coloring. And these are really tricky, these little food colors. They just like, sometimes a little drop more might go in, and just be careful because it really likes to come out fast. So I've got my 2 drops in my container number 2, and I can just kind of whirl that around in the water. I don't think I need to stir it too much. I can actually stir it with my finger because I don't mind having a green finger. There I go. So there's my, isn't that a pretty green? Reminds me of Seahawk green, Seahawk green, Seahawk blue. There you go. All right, so when we get ready to pour our water into the rainbow jar, we want to do it really carefully, and you can either tilt your jar just a little bit, but I found that I like to use a funnel, and then that way I don't have to really tilt the jar too much, because we want the water to sit right on top of the dish soap. So I am going to slowly pour this inside, and it's going to just hit the side of the jar, and you can see that I'm just doing it a little bit at a time. If I was tilting, if you don't have a funnel, you can still tilt the jar and it'll still work, but I discovered when I was doing this that I really like to have a funnel, and it seemed to work good. And then I was kind of afraid to hold the jar. I'm afraid I might drop it, and this way I can just let it sit there. And look at that, and I'm gonna pick this up so you can see. Isn't that awesome? Look at that, we have purple, blue, and green. We're doing great. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to pour in our olive oil into the jar. That is our next, and we don't have to add any color to it because it is already this beautiful yellow. So again, we're going to pour it slowly into the jar, okay? So I'm gonna just do it really slow. And remember that everything is going to be layered. And now that went down a little bit into the water, but as you can see as I'm pouring it, it is just floating right on top of that. And look at that beautiful yellow. And it's a little bit bubbly too, isn't it? It's kind of whooshing around. I'm trying to make sure that it's going to just stay right on top. So there's our beautiful yellow from our olive oil. So there we go. So we only have one more color to add, and it's the rubbing alcohol. And I am going to take the rubbing alcohol, and it's clear and it looks like water, but if you smelled it, it smells like rubbing alcohol. So I know that this is rubbing alcohol and not water. So it tells me that I need to add three drops of red. Wow, so this is gonna be really pretty red. Okay, so ready? 1, 2, 3. I have 3 drops in my third container, and I am going to mix that up. Again, I'm gonna just use my finger since I forgot my spoon. So there's my red right there. Okay, so I've got my red, and again, this one, you could tilt your jar or you could just use your funnel. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna wipe out my funnel a little bit. It's a little bit, has a little bit of green still in it, but I think it's fine. All right, so here I go. Again, I'm putting the funnel right up next to the side of the jar, and oops, and I spilled a little bit. Here I go, I'll do better. Oh dear, I really didn't, I don't know what's happening here. There we go. There we go. And it kind of moved around a little bit. And that's what we're doing. It kind of looks a little orange. I think you can add a little bit more red food coloring, or my red isn't as red as it could be. It kind of looks orange. But the main thing is when you're doing something like this, you're just experimenting, right? You can experiment. Maybe you can try. The great thing about doing an experiment is you can change it up and then see what happens. If you wanted to see, well, how come the corn syrup is on the first one on the bottom, and if you wanted to change it up and try it on top, you could see what would happen, right? So this is the recipe for making the rainbow in a jar, just like I've showed you. Once you've done that, you can put your lid back on and you can just label it rainbow in a jar, and there you go. You've got your purple, your blue, your green, your yellow, and kind of orangish red right there. Isn't that fun? So if you're interested in doing that, I hope you try it, and I hope you try to figure out why the oil didn't mix with the water, or why did the rubbing alcohol mix, why did it mix with the oil, or which one was denser, or just try to figure out some different problems. You could write it down, and then you could try different things and see what your results are. So the directions you'll find on the website. And one thing that you can do, that you want to leave this for a little while, just so, because it's so pretty, and maybe just have it sitting in your window and you can really see it. But if you decided, I thought I already did one, and what would happen if I just shook this all up? So I'm going to shake it all up. Oh my goodness, look what happened to our rainbow. Doesn't it look like a jar of mud? Because everything is mixed together, and we don't have time to sit and wait and see what happens to that. But that would be something you could try. You could take it and then see what happens to your liquid rainbow if you just let it sit. So enjoy doing this project. I had fun, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.